Hello everybody and welcome to PlayStation Access. My name's Ash and I'm joined by Nath.
Hello.
There he is. And today we're going to be talking about Deathloop, which is really, really exciting because I've been playing it, I've been having a great time, and I'm just going to gush at Nath all about it. So we're going to be covering basically what Deathloop is, how it works, some of the stuff you can look forward to, just why you should be really excited about it basically, because it is gorgeous, it is fun, it's really unique, and yeah, there's just loads to it that I think people are going to really, really love, including you, watcher, and you, Nate. So yeah, what do you think about Deathloop so far? Are you excited to hear about it?
Do you know, I'm the perfect person to speak about this with because I love Dishonored. I'm extremely excited about Deathloop. I've watched some of the trailers and I still have no idea what it is about, so I'm ready.
So essentially, Deathloop is basically the clue's in the name. It's a Deathloop. It's about Colt, who's on this island that continually goes through the same day, and your goal on this island is to stop the loop, to break the loop, and kind of break yourself free. And to do that, you've got to kill 8 visionaries who live in different parts of the map and do different things. And that's kind of the key goal and what it's about, which I feel probably still doesn't give you enough information about what Deathloop actually is, because there's so many intricate mechanics and kind of influences that come into the game. I kind of wanted to bring what games I thought Deathloop was similar to the table, but I feel like it kind of transcends all of them because it's such a mix of them. So it's definitely heavily inspired by Dishonored. There's this supernatural assassin going around the island, using powers, using guns and combat and melee as well. And it's also got this kind of Bioshock vibe with the same sort of feel and this retro science kind of aesthetic to
That's
it.
Cool.
It's got loot systems that remind me of Borderlands with all the different coloured guns and kind of different gradings you can get. And it's like Hitman for this sandbox that you can kind of manipulate into people coming together and getting them at the right time. You know what I mean? In crafting your own personal assassin story. So that's just kind of unloading all of those on you.
Well, even already, so Dishonored and Bioshock, so the games nerd in me, the reason I love both those games is they come from, and there'll be people watching who are clued into this already, come from that sort of tradition of immersive sims, all come through sort of the original Thief and Deus Ex, and this idea of, putting a power in the player's hands by giving them a bunch of abilities and then just putting them in a very rich scenario and just letting them get on with it. And just as you were talking, and those being the first 2 games, because they were both branches of that original sort of immersive sim tree, just as you were talking, the idea of a time loop which you will just enter into, and there's loads of, and a specific location, specific people to go and kill, but also that it's going to just happen again and again, which is kind of what you do in games anyway, especially these games when you're testing them out. That's kind of the ultimate immersive sim scenario. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's so good, and it's so its own thing. It's so confident in what it is. It kind of just throws you into this scenario as Colt. You wake up, you're in this time loop, and you kind of figure that out through trial and error, and then have to kind of unravel this mystery on the island. And it is the most perfect murder mystery that kind of centers this whole story. Because you don't know what's going on. You're learning as much as Colt does as he goes through. Every day is a loop, so it's kind of what you need to do is get as much information as possible with each time frame you have, and you have a morning, a noon, an afternoon, and an evening to each day, which are set through time periods, and then areas on a map you can go to for each of those time frames. Once you're there, you're not on a time limit. You have as much time as you want to explore that area, to maybe kill a visionary or find some notes and figure out different pieces of information, and then piece it all together and come away with what you want to do the next day. So maybe you'll go around, spend a whole loop going through the whole day, going to different areas of the island and collecting loads of information that you can then look back to in your bank of information and craft how your story wants to go and how you're going to do it. And you can just keep on dying and trying again.
So I have a question. Do different things happen in different places at different times of day?
Yes. So the area of Carl's Bay, which we're showing in this footage. So I did a single player playthrough as Colt, had a great time exploring and killing. In Carl's Bay in the morning, it's basically it's very chill. It's this kind of broken down carnival looking place. that's full of Eternalists, which remind me of like the Splicers from Bioshock. They're like these masked nasties that are out to kill you on the island. They're all there just kind of chilling and kind of working up to a party that's happening later in the day. So then you can go there in the evening and kind of the exhibits will be open. It's like these mad like fortune teller riddle places open that you can go and have a go on. There's fireworks in the bay. There's another place that's open where you've got like a mission to go and find a gun. So it kind of like changes each time, and who's there at each time will change as well. So you can only get like the visionary Harriet for this area will be there in the morning, but she's not going to be there later in the day. So that's the only place you can go in the mornings. Then you've got other places on the map you could go to for noon, afternoon and evening, and you've got to kill all 8 in one loop to break it, but it's about figuring out how to do it.
Amazing. I'm thinking, you know, like the joy. I've spoken about this in like features on the channel before. Like when I understood what Dishonored was and how it, you know, how to get the most from it, was when you kind of realise you go to an area and you sort of just scrape away every part of it, and you learn how the possibilities of every individual level, and the idea that like this island is full of locations like that, but are also different through time, seems like such a cool evolution of that whole sort of philosophy of designing games.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like it kind of not holds your hand, but it guides you to begin with. And also, like, I mean that quite literally, because you kind of talk to yourself as you go through, and I mean that as in there's writing written on the walls that's like, go this way, or there's an ambush, as if like you've got like fractured memories of what's happened previously, and those also change each loop you go through. So there's one when you're like going to find Harriet in Coles Bay, there's one that's like selling poison with a perfect mind or something. It'll be on screen, and then it kind of changes to something else the next time you go through, and it's just really interesting and immersive, and it makes you proper feel like you're figuring this out as well. And the game is leading you with as much help as you need to go through, but still leaving it super open. So when you reach the proper sandbox time where you can do anything you like and go any time of day, you have all these different leads and information you can follow, but you understand it all. It's not overwhelming for as much as there is there, that it's this massive, loads of different features and influences. It's never too much to handle, which is very well balanced and clever.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like it's taken hundreds of hours of really careful planning and testing.
Yeah. Definitely. I think kind of the next thing I want to tell you about, as Mr. Dishonored, you're going to love the powers and the additions to the combat, because they're so good. They're so good.
Are these persistent? How do they work?
So essentially, every time you start a loop, you lose all of your equipment that you've had for that loop. You'll start with some stuff, but none of it's permanent. Unless, as you go through the game, you learn of this stuff called Residium, which is kind of like a Souls influence, because you can pick up Residium in a loop, but you don't carry it over to the next one. You have to go back and spend it, and you can use that to make things stay with you, basically.
So you can
yeah, exactly. So you can infuse them so that they stick around afterwards. So there's things called slabs which do your powers. So the one that you'll see in this video is Nexus, which links people together across their heads. So if you shoot them, then all 3 die, for example.
Oh, that's that's a power from Dishonored 2. That's very cool.
Yeah. There's some really good Dishonored like throwbacks. There's Easter eggs and stuff in there as well, I will say. I won't spoil any, but there's a few Easter eggs dotted around the map for other games, which are just very wholesome to find. But yeah, there's like Dishonored powers in there that are just so satisfying to use and to find, and they're challenging to get because they're from like visionaries, or maybe the invading Juliana, who I haven't even spoken about yet, who you can get slabs from as well. Juliana I probably should talk about. She's like the antagonist of the game to your protagonist Colt, and she basically does like invasions where she will come and hunt you to try and end your loop. Something I haven't mentioned is you start with your own power, which is a slab called Reprise, so you can die twice before your loop ends, which is very useful for someone like me that just runs in all guns blazing.
I'm still piecing together how the game works as you play it, and it's funny because even something like Returnal that we kind of played and enjoyed as a team, we were sort of figuring out the exact like how the world within that premise that we all understood, we were figuring out, and that was kind of what kept us hooked. Does it have that same because it's got that sort of roguelike reset loop, it sounds like, but then with all of these other quite sophisticated mechanics bolted on. Does it feel, when you get to the beginning of a new day, a bit like a Returnal reset, or is there much more of a continuous sense of progress in that?
I definitely felt like there's more progress to it than Returnal, because sometimes you get a setback in Returnal and be like, oh my god, everything I've got is gone. Whereas I think with Deathloop, it definitely gives you the opportunity to save things personally with Residium, where you can infuse your weapons, you can infuse trinkets, which are upgrades for your weapons, you can infuse your slabs that you've gotten for your powers. And then you build your own customised loadout, basically, that can stick with you every single time, and then replace it, and you can swap things for Residium and all that sort of thing. And every piece of information that you find on a note or maybe in a computer will stay with you, and you remember it, and you can go back and reference it for the different time periods of the day as well. So like if you learn maybe a certain person is doing something shady in the evening, you know that for the whole time. There's no, like, you don't have to go back and learn that again and then figure it out and it changes. Like,
Yeah.
it's there with you.
Man, I'm excited, and from having no idea, just to suddenly being like, oh my god, this is a game that I want to play and it's out really soon. This is what a great day for me.
I feel like it's like totally took me by surprise just how amazing it is. Like, I knew it was going to be mysterious and interesting and I was going to like it, but just being thrown in with all of these innovative features, I just think it's great. I think it's really, really fun. And I think even when, you know, you are finding it challenging and you are dying, you are being set back, or you're running in all guns blazing or doing like a knife run, like, it's all fun. It's all fun, and it's all fun learning and growing, because it never feels like you're taken back and out of it completely. Every loop grows what you're doing, and every loop is necessary to learning a bit more, to getting to your end goal, to trying to break the whole thing. It's just incredible. And then PS5 features, it's got the haptic feedback, so when you're walking around, you're like do 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 across the ground, which is great.
Do you know, I've thought about how I'd love to play, like, I kind of, you know, I wish in a different universe Dishonored 1 and 2 had been made for PS5 so I could feel what the powers felt like. Is that what happens here?
Yes, like the adaptive triggers, the haptic feedback, the instant loading time. So like when you do die with Reprise and come back and can go and collect your Residium, it's also fast and it's also immersive. It's right in your hands. You're casting spells. Like it's just really, really good. The recovery system's so cool as well.
Feels like they've just put together all the games I like: roguelikes, immersive sims, bit of Souls. Wow. Yeah,
and then you've got the player invasion mechanic, because someone can take on Juliana and try and kill Colt that you're playing as. She's an AI normally, but someone can use her as like their player and go in. So when you're at like the start menu, you pick if you're playing as Colt or Juliana, which is just like another little invasion mechanic from Souls, which is just all these influences all mixed together in this. It's just an amazing melting pot of all the really fun parts of all the games that we like. It's just like, it's so good. It's so good. It is a Deathloop.
And I want to ask really quickly, because I know we're nearly out of time, but I wanted to ask a perfect run, because, you know, like when I was similar to Returnal or even Dishonored, the ultimate goal was you could get it so you knew the game so well that you could just do like a seamless run from beginning to end. Is that something you can do here as well? Let's pick your perfect way through the day.
I think so, yeah. Like I lots of trial and error on my part so far, because I'm still definitely learning the way that it all works. But, you know, you can pick your morning, your afternoon, your noon and your evening, and run through exactly how you like, kill who you want, get all the Residium built up and like use it where you want it to, move people around. Like, the goal is to make the perfect day by the end of it. So you're constantly working towards that as you go through and gaining your info and doing all that different bits. So it's gonna happen. I'll get one, but for now it's lots of learning and growing as you go through. Right, so that has been our look at Deathloop. I hope you've enjoyed seeing all this beautiful footage and hearing me ramble about it, because I'm super excited. I know you are too, Nath. Are you not?
Massively excited.
Yes, it is amazing. It's so fun, and I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it as well. But for now, this has been PlayStation Access. I've been Ash, and this has been Nath.
Hello, goodbye.
Yeah, a goodbye works. Goodbye. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.
PlayStation